Now, as for sharpening, how does one do that?
Well, there are specialists who will sharpen scissors. Your local knife store may be able to help you with that. There are also wonderful resources on YouTube
Okay.
on how to sharpen scissors. But the truth of it is, because this is such high quality hard steel, hand polished, sharpened and ground, they tend to keep their, unless you abuse them and cut metal or do something with them that you
Right.
shouldn't do, they tend to keep their edge really well. Just like a good knife, but
Now, one would imagine that this was quite a niche market for people with severe OCD like myself. But I believe that the reception has been quite favorable for you. What kind of people are enjoying these artisanally crafted scissors?
well, I think one of the benefits of starting your own business is you can decide that you are I'm our customer, right?
Right,
I
right,
sort of
right.
think of
Yes, yes.
myself as what I would like is what we would like, because, I'm sort of thinking of myself as the ideal customer. The reception as I had a feeling we were onto something
Mhm.
when I began to see the quality of the work and get to know the companies that were making it and understand the history. I became quite obsessed actually with helping them get these beautiful products to market. So it became way more, it was way more than a business about doing something cool. It became, this is serious. This could go away before most people even realize it. So the reception, much to our delight, has been overwhelming. Actually, so we've had some great media coverage over the summer, and sold out immediately. And luckily, because we've been to see most of these makers, we've been to their shops, we know them, we've had face-to-face time, I was able to, in a panic, email them and say, please send us some more, because the reality is that scissors take time.
Yeah.
So we essentially, in time for Christmas, we basically purchased everything they have, everything most of our, especially in the kitchen side, most of our makers have. And then we've started to place what I would call orders from scratch into the new year, which means we are actually ordering the forge to prepare the metal for the scissor halves, which is
Wow.
at a much larger scale. And that timeline from forging to hand production is about 4 months. So, at this point, I would say our biggest limitation is honestly supply, because we will not ask anyone to compromise quality, and they won't in production. So, it seems to me that people understand the difference between a good quality pair of scissors and not, and they understand that their scissors can be as good as their knives. So I'm delighted, because we really want to help these folks find new markets. They're not marketers, they're manufacturers, they're artisans. And so whatever we can do to raise awareness and help people understand this is a thing, a quality product for life, I think it's we're supporting small business, we're supporting heritage crafts. I mean, this is a meaningful work. It went from kind of a joke to actually this is kind of important. So it feels good.
One of the things I enjoy the most about the way the products are packaged is the way, although all the scissors are branded with Ciselier on here, in the box there's a little card, like a collector's card about each of the producers, and it reminds me almost of kind of labels for wine, where you get a kind of back label that gives you a little bit of the story, and each of these cards is about the different artisanal producers, which is almost like, for me, almost like the human element of terroir that we're seeing in these cards, because we were talking about producers from, I think, you're Portugal, Spain, France, England, and are you
Germany.
bringing in Germany and Japan?
In Japan, we are unfortunately at this point don't have any
Right.
makers from Japan, but that is that is an important production region as well. Yeah.
No, I did, but I've always been fascinated by this human element of terroir that people tend to leave out of the terroir equation. And this just really appealed to me, the way that you describe each of the producers. I thought that was fantastic. So what's next for Ciselier?
Well, really it's about where do we go next? Because at this point, we've really focused, because of the limitations of supply. We've really focused on the Canadian market. Although we do sell North America wide, we haven't done any promotion or really outreach into the US, because we need to not create a terrible consumer experience. And, obviously it's a much larger market. So I think next year it's really about we'll go again in the spring, and we'll sit with our makers and we'll talk about what their production capacity is and what they would like to do. And and you know, how they've been experiencing what we're doing. And ideally next year let's start to sell into the United States and you know, see what the reception is there. But I think it will be quite similar. But again, I don't want to break the supply chain, because we can see that we're putting pressure on it. Even with the demands we've made so far, we're putting pressure on it. So we have to do this in a very sustainable way, which means we will probably have to, you know, limit our supply to a certain extent. But anyway, long story short, would love to reach into the US and help more people understand the quality products, and then eventually into Europe as well.
Now, I have to ask you, with you starting the company when you did, what kind of impact have you seen with regards to the price of steel these days and the manufacturing of said scissors?
Yeah, this is a big area where I feel like in some respect we came along at the right time for some of these makers, because we were able to purchase large amounts from them. On average, we've seen price increases month over month of around 5 or 6%. In one case, we had a large order and then a period of time and then another large order, and some of the products went up 20%. Germany is particularly hard hit, both because it's a quite a high income region, and obviously, you know, energy coming from limited sources because of Russia's invasion of Ukraine, very, very big impact. So, but on our side, one of the things we made a commitment to do is never discount and never diminish the actual cost of creating a product, so that the people who are making that product can have a good life. You know, they have access to education, transportation, healthcare, a little bit left over for the little luxuries in life. So we will never succumb to those price pressures, and try to pressure our suppliers, because this is what it costs. And so if our prices have to go up, they have to go up. That's the unfortunate reality. You know, it's not a loaf of bread. It is a bit of a luxury product. So I hope people will appreciate that we have no desire to put pressure on our makers. As a result, they're already under enough pressure. We're not going to put any more on them on the price side.
Well, Maggie, thank you very much for joining us at Good Food Revolution today. You have a new fan in me, this has to be said. Your website is absolutely gorgeous, and I find myself drooling over all these other scissors, which I probably don't need, but I will find an excuse to purchase at some point in the future. Again, thank you for joining us today, and have a wonderful rest of your day.
Thank you very much, Jamie.
Take care. Bye for now.